Hi, Room 5. So this week is your last week of Wonders for first grade, and that means we're not going to finish Unit 6. We are on Unit 6, Week 2, and in our Big Blue Wonders book this week, the story that we are reading is called Meet Rosina. And so I know that you have your comprehension page that you need to do on Google Classroom as well. And so as we read, we're kind of going to talk about why this story was written. So all authors want to write a story for a purpose. Sometimes it's just they want to write a story for kids to enjoy. Sometimes it's because they want to rewrite a story that they love. That's why there's different versions of different fairy tales, and there's different versions of classic stories. Sometimes they write nonfiction stories, which are to tell us some sort of information. So this week, we're learning about who helps us it could be in the community, which means outside your home, in your neighborhood, or in your town. It could be right in your own house. It could be in your own neighborhood. So there's so many different people that help us in so many different ways. So this is Meet Rosina, and we're going to hear about who helps Rosina and why she might need a little bit more help than you or I. Hi. I'm Rosina. I am deaf, so I talk with my hands. I go to a special school for deaf children. All of our teachers teach with American Sign Language. We call this signing. We study math, writing, reading, and art. It's the same as in other schools. My brother Emilio also goes to my school. We play basketball during recess. My mother and aunt are deaf too. They both work at my school. Mom is the teacher's helper. My Aunt Carla shows us pictures of students who used to go to the school. My mom was one of them. My aunt often tells stories about when my parents were young. Sometimes we go to the school library. Our librarian, Haiti, signs stories from the books in the library. Haiti is good at telling stories. She makes us feel as if we're in the story. The story can make us feel sad, scared, worried, or happy. I love going to art class. I like to paint. Here I am painting a picture of myself. Our class made up a story. It is about a deaf father who woke up one day with 4 arms. We wrote it and did all the drawings. Then we made it into a book called Too Many Hands. I like sports. We are playing rugby. The way we play is to tag the person carrying the ball. Then he or she throws it to another player on the team. By running fast, we can get away and cross the goal line. Our team played other schools. We beat all the other teams and accepted a big trophy. We were so happy. We splashed our coach in water. Some of us got wet too. We are all friends, so no one got mad. After school, I shower and change clothes for dinner. Mom likes to fix my hair. She puts it up in a bun like her mother did. At home, we all help Mom cook meals. I chop lettuce, Emilio cuts up cheese, Dad makes guacamole. After dinner, Dad and I play a game of chess. Emilio roots for me. Mom, Dad, Emilio, and me. That's my family, but there are many more too. We are a big family. I have lots of aunts, cousins, grandpas, and grandmas. Most of my mom's family is deaf. My whole family uses sign language to talk to each other. This is how we sign goodbye. The end. So this story was written obviously to show you how what Rosina's life is like, being a deaf little girl. And it's interesting, they said that most of her mom's family is deaf. That means it's hereditary in her family. That means if your mom or dad have it, they can pass it down to you before you're even born. So that is Rosina's family. I'm going to read you about George and Kana, who's the author, and we're going to see if it talks about why he maybe wrote this story. George wrote the words and took the photographs for this piece. He learned how to take photographs from his father when he was growing up. His father developed pictures in their bathroom. Today, George likes to photograph people in their everyday lives. Before George wrote this book, he already knew some sign language. In this picture, he's signing, I love you. So, he wrote this story just because he likes taking different individuals and sort of talking about how they get by throughout the day and who helps them. So his purpose for writing this was just to tell us about Rosina and to tell us about her life. Now in here it talked about a ton of different people who helped Rosina, but that one thing that was interesting to me is that all the same people who help her are the same people who help you in your day-to-day life. And learning sign language is just another language. So when you get older, when you go to middle school and high school and college, a lot of times you have to learn another language. We have some kids in our class who already speak another language. Some kids speak Spanish, some kids speak Farsi. I've had a lot of kids at Highlands who speak Russian. Sign language is just another language that you can communicate with. So Rosina goes to an all-deaf school, which means her teachers there can speak to her in sign language. So her teachers help her. Well, that's the same as you. Your teachers help you. I'm just walking back through these pages to look at it to see. She talks a lot about her brother and how her brother roots for her. Her brother helps her. So a lot of you have brothers or sisters who help you. Her mom and her aunt. So she happens to have her mom and her aunt work at her school. You might not have that, but you still have a mother who might help you at home. Some of you might have an aunt who you see often who helps you at home. She talked about her librarian, and her librarian signs the stories. But what I found was interesting is she said that her librarian makes them feel just like they're in the story, and they can feel sad, scared, worried, or happy. That's just the same as when I read to you. When we read Charlotte's Web, there was some terribly sad parts in it that made us feel sad. When we read Mercy Watson, there were some hilarious parts in it that made us crack up. And when we read The Mouse and the Motorcycle, there were parts where we really worried about Ralph and what was going to happen to him. So it's the same in our English language as it is in their American Sign Language, is what they call it. She goes to art class, just like you guys. And then this is, I think, my favorite part of the story. They play a sport at her school called rugby. And rugby is a sport around here. It's just not played very often by a lot of kids. But her coach and her teammates help her. Just like if you're on a team, your coach and your teammates are going to help you. And then, of course, at night, their family all helps one another to make dinner. So on your comprehension page today on Google Classroom, I wanted you to sort of create a little chart about the things that you find that you have in common with Rosina. That means the things that are the same. So maybe you play a sport and you have a coach. That would be the same. You go to the library, so that would be the same. And then I want you to put things that are different. For instance, Rosina plays rugby. You might not play rugby. You might play soccer, or you might be on a swim team. And I know you might not be doing that right this second because of shelter in place, but I mean in your life. Rosina has a brother. Now, if you have a brother, you would put that in similarities, things that are the same. But maybe you don't have a brother. Maybe you just have a sister. Then you're going to put that in differences. So I want you to fill that out and kind of compare yourself to Rosina a little bit and see. It is always important to remember that just because she speaks a different language, she's actually very much the same as you. It just looks different because she's using a different language. So great story. And it was, of course, the last one. You can, at any time, go on to McGraw-Hill and you can search in the little search bar, Unit 6, Week 3, Week 4, and Week 5. And then that will give you access to the rest of the stories if you are looking for some other stories to read or if you really want to finish this book. We just, unfortunately, don't have enough weeks in the school year to finish it. So I hope you liked it, and I wish we were reading it together because it's our last one. But I miss you, and I love you to pieces, and there's no place like home. Bye.